I do want to ask, there is a debate in this country over the best way to curb gun violence after being so close to it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of thinking about what took place at the parade. I know gun violence was a big discussion, but at the end of the day, this is degenerate violence, and it should not be occurring. I think we need strong fathers in the home. I think we need men that are leading, that are setting good examples, that are teaching the young men in our society that violence is not the way to handle our disputes. It's very unfortunate what happened. Unfortunately, many children were injured. Beautiful young lady was killed over someone getting offended and turning to violence to handle that dispute. It's so sad. I don't think guns are the issue. I think we need fathers in the home that are being great examples for our youth.
What's going on, everyone? It's Oscar King here today. As you saw from the intro, the Chiefs kicker said that the parade shooting wasn't about guns. We need strong fathers. And before I go more into the article, this has been a common talking point from Black conservatives specifically, and many conservatives have brought this point, but it seems like this is even more of an issue for Black conservatives because we lived it firsthand. And a lot of people want to say, oh, it's the guns' fault, it's the guns' fault. And this is the problem I have with a lot of people on the left, is that they like to absolve people of personal responsibility. End of the day, you decided to pull the trigger. End of the day, the gun's a tool. And I remember I got into some comments, some beef with somebody in the comment section about this. Guns are a tool. And just like a tool, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. That's it. Anything can be made a weapon. I could use this pen and this pen could become a weapon. In your eye. Like, end of the day, people kill people. And people who do not do not acknowledge this argument, in a way, they're saying that people are not responsible for their own actions. That somehow, if they touch a gun, they get possessed to become mass shooters, even though majority of gun owners are responsible with their weaponry. The media want to focus on that small percentage of gun owners that misuse the guns for malicious ends and try to cascade that against the overall society. Like, make it make sense. That's like punishing the Black community for the sins and problems that the small percentage of them, which is criminals, by the way. Majority of Black people aren't criminals, but if we put a law saying we're going to punish all Black people because of the actions of a small few, many of us will sit here and say that's unfair. And this is what essentially gun control is doing to gun owners. And I don't understand this idea that people don't want to absolve personal responsibility to the people. And he makes a good point, is that one of the reasons why I think fathers are very important is that they teach boys, how to regulate their emotions. Women can't do this for some reason. I'm not. Hey, look, as a product of a single parent household, right? My mom and my dad separated. I was raised primarily by my mom. I consider that single parent household, even though technically I was co-parented, thank God. Because seeing my mom emotionally react to things, right? Women, you get emotional. When problems happen, she gets angry, not composed, don't know how to channel that in a productive manner. And young boys see that and they mirror that because they're around the mom the most. Sorry, I'm not sitting here going to stereotype. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat stuff. But there's a reason why boys from single parent households disproportionately create more crime. Are the large percentages of rapists. Talk about rape culture. Single motherhood essentially creates rape culture. 68% of rapists are raised by single mothers, came from single mother households. That's a fact. And I believe it's due to the fact that women do not properly teach their sons how to control their emotions. Single moms think, because you see women are allowed to act emotional in public, to the point where they're destroying people's properties and they don't get held any repercussions for that. It's not the same for a man. If a man gets emotional and he breaks his girlfriend's car with a knife or something, people are going to call the cops on him, and he's most likely going to get dealt with. But this is the problem that I believe that a lot of boys raised by single mothers experience. And in the Black community, sorry, I got to go there, right? In the Black community, in Black culture, there's this lack of respect for the father in the household. This is why a lot of people call the Black community a matriarchy. 70% of these boys are raised by single mothers, yet the single mothers don't want to take any responsibility for the negative outcomes that a lot of these boys have. They can't read, they're falling behind in school, they act out more, they misbehave more, they go to jail at a disproportionate rate. Like, single moms don't want to take any responsibility, right? The minute stuff go wrong, they want to blame the father. And this is the problem. You didn't allow the father to be in the life of the child because from where I'm coming from, I've seen a lot of black women intentionally choose to be single mothers. The concept of nuclear family is rooted in white supremacy. Well, if you believe that, then you shouldn't complain when we're getting terrorized by your own kids. This is the results of your parenting style, single moms. Sorry, this is the truth. All mass shooters came from a single mother household. Look that up. But y'all don't want to take accountability for the things you guys are producing. And this is my number one problem. That's why they focus on the guns instead of focusing on the individuals. Because with some context clues, you start realizing the root cause of these problems. And this is the problem with the left. The left believes in some patchwork, putting a bandage on the problem, when conservatives believe on, hey, let's try to get at the core root of the problem. But it's going to take longer. It's going to take generations to fix. And until then, we got to be tough on crime. This is why black crime. This is why black people are disproportionately represented as victims of violent crime. All of it points to single motherhood. All of it points to culture. And in this is a clip from Larry Elder that always stuck out to me about fatherlessness. This is Shalazah Ali, and she points out the problem in black culture, how black men are not respected and black fathers are not respected in our culture. The minute you bring up the importance of a father in the home, people will stigmatize the nuclear family and wonder why their mindset produced complete losers. Yes. Why you got such emotional men. This is one problem I always had, and this is my number one critique. I believe black men are some of the most emotional people I've ever met in my life. And I can tell the men that was raised by their dad and not raised by their dad, literally based on how they respond to obstacles and setbacks. My dad taught me, hey, you don't give up on yourself. Hey, if you don't believe in you, why you expect someone else to believe in you, right? Trust starts with yourself, right? This is stuff my father taught me. This is the stuff my father instilled in me. Hey, be so good they can't deny you. You didn't make it on the team. You weren't good enough, son. Sorry, that's the truth. You got to work hard on it. You got to practice more. You got to do what other people are not willing to do so you can have what other people are not going to have. This is the kind of values that your father instills in you, regardless of his income, regardless of his education level. And this is the type of superficial things that a lot of women I'm noticing focus on. How much money he make? What is his education like? That don't teach you nothing about his character. Because what makes someone a great parent is not the money, status, and things that they bring on. None of the material things that they bring to the table. It's about their character and perspective and values that they bring to the table. That what makes someone a great parent, a great wife, a great husband. And I think in the black community, in black culture, we focus too much on materialism. And I think this is why we got the negative outcomes that we have in our culture today. But I digress. Sorry for the long rant. I just think this is something very personal to me. And I think a lot of people need to be made aware and not trying to run away from the problem by labeling it white supremacy when you look at the data. Because at the end of the day, data doesn't prove a narrative. Data proves a result. So let's take a look at Shalazah Ali highlighting some of this problem that was been spoken about since the 60s. Let's take a look.
We have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a black man provides in a home is money, and if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value. And what my research has proven to me is that a black man, any man in any home, provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our black homes. He provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there's so many other values, and these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone. And most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain that a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation.
You seen that? You heard that? This explains black culture. This has been the philosophy of a lot of the black culture. That's why I say the black culture is a matriarchy. This is why a lot of the people in the black culture are emotional. Why they can't think logically. Why they're easily manipulated by the Democratic Party. Because all the Democratic Party has to say is, oh, this person is racist. Look at all the negative things he says, and try to get a visceral emotional reaction out of the black community. And this is how they herd the black community into voting Democrat at a 90% clip. This is the game. The black family survived Jim Crow, slavery, segregation, racism, but the black family could not survive liberal ideology. Imagine that. The thing that's supposed to, from a physical sense, do less damage to the black community actually did the most. Married couples are less prone to poverty than single people. Black community has a larger percentage of single people in its community, and we wonder why black wealth is lower than white wealth. Because white people are 60% married, while black people are only, maybe 26% married? On average, older people make more money than younger people. If you look at the average age between the black community and the white community has a higher age on average compared to the black community. That also explains the wealth gap. But instead of doing that, a lot of these race hustlers, a lot of these in the black culture, what we're taught to, and this is due to the lack of fathers, because a father, like mine did, he told me, hey, look, Kenny, just because of your skin color, you don't need to vote Democrat. You vote what's best for you. My dad taught me that. My dad didn't tell me to go along with the herd. He said, what's good for them may not be good for you. You're an individual, right? Because my dad taught me, hey, look, we Haitian. This is my dad. You don't sag your pants. I was taught not to sag my pants. Hey, we in Haitians, we produce smart people, resourceful people. This is the culture you come from, Kenny, as a second generation American. This is where I come from. My dad taught me that. My dad was just a taxi driver teaching me this. When he used to pick me up from school, I'm on the side of the car. We'll talk about things like that. My dad will talk about why he voted for Obama in 2008 and why he wasn't voting for Obama now in 2012. I used to have conversations like that with my father. My mom, oh, you black? You're supposed to put Democrat. My mom told me that. And I was like, no, I'm going to be an independent. Put me as an independent, Mom. I'm not going to just assign to a party if I don't even know if I really believe with them or not. It's because of my father's influence that I believe that I'm here today. Why I don't feel ashamed, like when people go on my comment section saying that my parents should disown me because I'm a black man that is pro the Republican Party, pro conservative policies. When I get white liberals in my personal life telling me that I'm voting against my best interest, and then I check them in their face and say, hey, how I'm voting against my best interest? Is your party doing this? Because I care about this a lot. I want to pay less taxes. I want the country in the long term to be more prosperous than it was in the past. And I don't think spending God's amount of money on social entitlement programs is actually producing good results. Then I bring up the Great Society Act. I say, hey, we gave free money. We added the welfare state to our country. Look at the history. It expanded the poverty. It made more black people poor because you incentivize them to do a decision that statistically will make them poorer than another decision. You incentivize black women to become single moms over becoming married because you want to push a narrative that they don't need no man, black culture. Unmarried women look for support to the men of the state, simultaneously decrying patriarchy. This is black women to a T, sorry, while doing little but sacrificing their femininity to support it. The most feminist type of women are black women, but look at the stats. Democrats, 68% married women. Democrats have the majority on the single mom vote, the unmarried woman vote. Is it any surprise why the Great Society Act incentivized black women to choose the government over the actual biological father of their children? Why they push this I don't need no man attitude? This is a narrative that's incentivizing certain choices and behaviors in our community, right? Don't depend on a man. Oh, but you can depend on the government though. Because at the end of the day, as humans, we're social creatures. We're interdependent on everyone. As a man, men recognize this. That's why you never hear a man say, I don't need nobody. I'm independent. You never hear a man say that. Because we recognize that we're not independent. You rely on your job to give you money so you can pretend to be independent. Unless you're an entrepreneur, you're not truly independent. And even when you are an entrepreneur, you're not independent. Because if people don't buy your products, if people don't give you business, you can't make money either. And this is kind of like the boasting that a lot of women have been conditioned to do. And I'm sick of it, actually. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people disparaging the nuclear family. I'm sick of people saying that having kids are somehow a burden or a negative in your life. When to me, having kids was the best thing that ever happened to me. Honestly, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful because some people don't have the opportunity to have their own kids. My kids taught me so much about human nature and how what you teach your kids, what you push to your kids, what your kids see and model has such an influence on their behavior. And this is why I'm very protective of my kids. This is why I want to homeschool my kids, because I believe while my kids are the most impressionable, I shouldn't be trying to hand them off to some third party person who I don't know their values. I don't know their principles. Yet I'm allowing them to teach my kid? No. And I work hard to put myself in a financial positions where I'm able to do that. People complain about, oh my God, look at the math test. Black people are falling behind. Math must be racist. Instead of looking at the student and say, okay, why are the students not performing like other students? Asians, no matter where you put them, you can put the Asians in public school, private school, charter school. They do they excel academically. Why? The culture. And as a single mom, it's hard to really give guidance to your kids, pass down values to your kids. That's why if you have a kid like me, I was a very good kid for the most part anyway. But I had my head on straight. Like I was able to kind of educate myself. And this is how I got here. This is why I have such a love for books. Because what my mom couldn't teach me, I could teach myself. I taught myself financial literacy. I taught myself about politics. Right? Because I was unsure. 2016, the first year I was allowed to vote, and I didn't vote. I didn't choose to participate because I'm like, I don't understand enough to really be confident in my vote. So I didn't vote in 2016. But when I saw what's going on with Trump, I wasn't like hating on Trump. I was like, oh, he's speaking to a certain group of people. And when I saw people demonizing him, I was like, well, what's wrong with you guys? This is a problem. Illegal immigration is a problem. My dad, as a legal immigrant, my dad was complaining about how, yeah, people just skip the line and it makes it longer for us to come into the country. My dad showed me how unfair illegal immigration was to him, a legal immigrant, the one who came here legally, became a citizen, met my mom here, and then here I am, second generation. But people don't see that. It seems like people only want to push the desirabilities of something over its negatives when they're one and the same. But that's me. I know I went on a long tangent. It kind of even deviated from the original point of this video, but I hope you guys understand where I think the kicker was coming from. That these boys aren't taught to control themselves. My dad told me the most dangerous man in society is an emotional one, because you can't control yourself. You get disrespected. I mean, there's countless stories. If you're black, you know this. There's countless stories of dudes dying because you stepped on his Jordans, on shoes. It shows a lack of emotional control. And I don't think a mom can give that level of emotional control. Because in my view, compared to men, women don't have much emotional control. I'm just saying, if I'm making a comparison here, because if men was as emotional as women, there'll be a lot more higher crime rates. I'm just saying. And you're starting to see that in Gen Z, right? Oh, everyone's the same. Everyone's the same. And then now Gen Z are hitting back. Now women are complaining. Now women are complaining that, oh, why men want to be treated just like women? You're pushing that. You conditioned men all your lives. You've been telling them masculinity is bad, and now you're mad that they're acting like you. Now you find these men undesirable. Like, make it make sense. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to pick one. That's what I say. People got to pick their struggle. Either you want a disciplined, duty-bound culture, or you want a hedonistic, free culture, unconstrained culture. But you can't have both. If you want freedom, there must be responsibility along with it. If you want the freedom to drink alcohol in college campuses, then you must be able to accept the responsibility of putting yourself in a vulnerable position. Just like if a man walk around at night, 2:00 in the morning with gold chains and a grill, iced out, walking alone on the street, if he gets robbed, you're gonna say, hey, you should have had better awareness. I don't treat the sexes differently. I treat them the same. But this is what we lost in our culture. Because we have no morality. We have no standards anymore. And it's what happens in a society with no standards. We're reaping what we're sowing in this time. But I digress. That's just fatherlessness. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, but I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What you guys are thinking about fatherlessness. Do you agree with the Super Bowl champion? Do you really believe that it's due to social issues, or you think it's the guns? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.